You got questions? Hopefully I got some answers for you. Here we go.
Okay, post-finasteride syndrome says, what's your best suggestions to do this low-fat diet and keep things interesting when I have an autoimmune gut issues? Meals are so bland without sauces and stuff and can't have most spices either.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like, what can you have? You know, that's the thing. It's like there's some people that are like lactose intolerant, and it kind of messes with their diet. And they, I'll suggest, low fat yogurt and low fat cottage cheese, and it just takes those things right out of the picture for them. Um, here's what I would do. The cards that you're dealt are the cards that you're dealt. So like, what can you eat? Right. I'd maybe even write some of that out, try to figure out, talk to Chat GPT, like, what can I make out of this, this, and this? Cause like, I don't know anything without you telling me. You're seeing like on my Instagram, you're seeing me use some sauces recently. I rarely ever use any sauces. There's a lot of different sauces though too, right? So you said sauces, like, oh, I have a problem with sauces. Okay, well, what about mustard? What about ketchup? Like, what about condiments? Or you have the same problem with condiments? What about like cocktail sauce, that you put on like shrimp, which is amazing, by the way. It's underrated. I don't know why no one ever uses it. I don't normally use sauce. And the reason why I don't normally use sauce is because me eating meat and carbs together is newer for me. I was eating meat by itself. And when I eat meat by itself, I don't pour sauce on steak. Yeah, I would never do that. I would never pour sauce on steak. And even chicken, I probably wouldn't do that. Now, if it's mixed with something else, yes, I will, because then you get all the flavors catching and they all kind of pull together, right? So if you made an Asian dish and you had the stir fry, basically, and you had teriyaki sauce and chicken and rice and stuff, that makes sense, right? But yeah, anyway, you have to figure out like what are the things that you can eat, and your food shouldn't be bland because you should be able to have a wide variety of the meat that you're eating, along with, because like, let's face it, you're always eating meat, right? Like you go to a restaurant and they have an entree, and the entree has meat. And if you're eating healthy, you're going to have meat. There's no other options, right? There's like there's meat, and then there's like sides. That's it. That's what we always have. That's what you're supposed to eat like a handful of times every day to be jacked and tan, and something that probably isn't really ever talked about. But if you have meat as your main meal 3 times a day, and especially if the meat is lean, you're going to be in awesome shape. You're going to be in awesome shape. Obviously, you need other habits surrounding that, like you're not eating a bunch of other junk during the day and blah 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 blah. But if you do that 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, eating meat and a potato or meat and some vegetables, you're going to be in incredible shape. It's actually kind of an interesting thing. But have a variety of meat that you're eating, and you're saying, that you're on a low fat diet. Well, not every meal always has to be low fat all the time. Keep the fat low. Once in a while, have a little bit more fat in there. But that's where your Piedmontese, your certified Piedmontese beef and stuff like that is going to really come into play, because you have filet mignon there that has no fat in it. And just even with just salt, if that's all you can eat is just salt, that food is still ridiculously good. If you need something a little bit cheaper, they have filet, and they also have like sirloin fillets, which are a little bit less expensive. They have flat iron steaks, which are a little bit less expensive. Use the code Mark Bell, you get 25% off. You get free shipping. Hopefully that should help soften the blow a little bit. But that's where you're gonna have to spend your money a little bit if you want food to taste good. So switch up the meats that you're consuming, and cook a bunch of different ways. get a Pyrex and just throw seasoning on, like just like buy seasonings that don't have stuff in it that's going to mess up your stomach. Oh shit. I wish I could remember the seasoning that we use. We bake chicken, we throw it in the oven, and we will have chicken breast and some chicken thighs. And when you cook them all together, all the fat and everything from the couple chicken thighs that you have there, it all kind of, gets all over the chicken breast and stuff like that too. So you can do, I don't know, you have like, let's say you have 6 chicken things, right? And two are chicken thighs, and the rest are all chicken breasts, something like that. Or you have, 3 thighs and 3 breasts or whatever. You throw it all in the oven at the same time. Throw some vegetables in there with it. Maybe chop up some potatoes. Throw all that in there. It will come out incredible. It'll be amazing. And you can use natural stuff. You don't have to use things that are like, going to blow up your stomach and stuff like that. So, the other thing I was going to mention is like, you should try to figure out like, is your autoimmune like a death sentence? Like, are you stuck there, or should you check out, and maybe listen to some of the stuff from Joel Green, and maybe there's a way that you can get yourself better from eating like what is it, apple skins, or I've heard people recently talking about orange skins. So maybe there's ways for you to kind of get around some of this, and then also just look into seasonings and stuff. I'm sure there's seasonings out there that don't have like junk in it. So if you buy an Italian seasoning, it's going to have oregano, garlic, right? It shouldn't have a bunch of preservatives and weird stuff in it. So yeah, just find kick-ass sauces, buy good high quality meats, and then cook the meats differently. Use your air fryer, use your oven, use your slow cooker. If you cook pork, by the way, is usually pretty lean. Buy a form of pork that's lean. There's a ham, there's all kinds of stuff, but like buy some sort of lean pork and throw that bitch in the slow cooker with like a salsa verde. And that'll be awesome. And if you can't have the sauce because it bothers your stomach, then find something different. Maybe find more like a pico. And don't forget you can squeeze lemons on food, and like there's tons and tons and tons of options. But yeah, find spices that aren't going to F you up, and mix up your meats.
Omar says, do you have to eat a lot of sugar during the day to increase metabolism?
No, not necessarily. There's not really a lot of scenarios where you need to like eat more to like lose more weight. There are scenarios where you might want to go through a period of time where you're consuming a little bit more food to sort of like ramp up your metabolism. But again, even in that time, you're most likely not going to like lose a lot of weight. So it's not a good idea to think about like carbs or fats, because people used to think this of keto too. If I consume more fat, I'm going to produce more ketones, and then I'm going to lose more weight. It doesn't really work that way. Also, it doesn't work that way with eating like a crazy amount of carbs. You do need to have hit a certain caloric number ish, so your metabolism doesn't slow down. It's like, it's kind of hard to put into words here for me, but like, think about it this way. If you're consuming, if you're, whatever your calories are, I don't know, but like, just say you consume, I don't know, like 400 grams of carbs on most days. And now you're trying to just consume less carbs to like lose weight. That's also not a good strategy. That won't work really well, and it won't work well like over like a long period of time. Your best bet in terms of body composition is to really keep those fats low. In my opinion, keep your fats low, keep your carbs in that moderate to high range. For some people, they might need to go higher. We've seen some bodybuilders have a lot of success with going higher carb and getting even leaner. But keep in mind, they do a lot of work. They do a lot of work. So you have to, how much movement do you have and all these different things. And saying sugar is like not a great way of putting that. It's just like carbs in general, it's probably a better way to look at it. But no, you don't need to eat like more sugar. Whatever amounts just feel like normal, just with sugar fasting, just you don't need to have 1,000-calorie shake. That's not going to like result in you being like leaner. So, I'm sorry, not 1,000 calories, 1,000. Yeah, you don't need to. Sorry, you don't need to have 1,000-calorie shake for you to burn fat.
Chris says, are meat and starches okay at night?
They're okay really any time of the day, but if you're doing the sugar diet, then that's where you'd want to stick them. And that's what I've been doing for a while now, and it feels great. Even sugar diet aside, even if you just did like some intermittent fasting that way, and I've done that before too, that seems to work as a pretty good strategy. What I like about the fruit though is the fruit is still supplying you with good energy, and you don't feel like kind of like, I don't know, you feel like you have more energy to like work out or more energy to do other things. And so it's nice to have that fruit in there. But the meat and starch at night, it feels great. Like it feels like you're accomplishing something, and now you're getting this like reward of a meal at the end of the day. I'd also encourage you occasionally just to not have the starch, just to have vegetables, and just kind of see how your digestion is, see how you feel, see how your sleep is, see how your leanness is. A couple nights like that might give you a little bit better sleep. It might give you a little bit better. Everyone's a little different. Some people need the carbs to go to bed. Some people find that they keep them up. So again, always want to encourage the experimentation, keep the experimentation alive, and keep playing with it. But yeah, that meat and starch later in the day is a good thing. But also, like, if you need to start it earlier on certain days for whatever reason, don't be afraid to do that. Like, I think the worst thing that can happen to most people on a lot of these different styles of diets is to just be so imprisoned by it. Don't let it be anything like that. And don't be a pussy. It's like, don't turn into a big wimp about everything. Like, oh no, it's not. Just, you know what? Just, life's too short to be like so detailed about every little thing. Enjoy it. And you don't need to be. That's part of the reason why I communicate with you guys about so many of these different diets is, it doesn't have to be like you're consistent over time. You're consistently kicking ass over a long period of time. But you're also going to be able to be a calorie chameleon when it comes to this whole thing, because you're going to be able to adapt to any situation that you're in. So you go somewhere and there's some carbs and there's a good meat sort, like just eat it. Like, just don't worry about it. And occasionally there's some circumstances where somebody's got good momentum. You just lost 20 pounds and you're like, if you're on fire, then stay on fire. But if you're not, just like, you don't have to really worry about it. Oh, it's okay. Now it's 5 p.m. Now I get to have, I don't run my life that way. And I don't think it's a great way for anybody else to either.
CrossFit wants to know about your glasses.
These are from EMR Tech, and these are just to try to block out some blue light. I'm under these lights for a while. Like today, we did a earlier show, and I don't know how much this helps with like circadian rhythm or whatever, but it's just something I'm practicing. By the way, the blue light, getting on your body and stuff like that too. Your body is a computer, and so my body is taking in the blue light one way or the other. It's just not getting it through the eyes. which I think is probably a bigger offender. So yeah, I just hork these on for this. I will wear these at my house too when I'm watching TV. These more reddish orange ones, they make it a little bit hard to see, but that's kind of good because then I can't see shit and I'm like, I need to go to bed. I can barely see, like if it's dark in the room, I can't really see even like if I'm trying to eat. So it prevents me from that too. I'm like, I just need to go to bed. Like it's 9 o'clock, 9:30. I should just get ready for bed anyway. By the time I actually get my butt in the bed, after I maybe use the bathroom and brush my teeth and do A, B, C, D, floss, rinse, all that stuff, maybe even take a shower, depending on the day. It's gonna be like 10 o'clock, 10:30. It's perfect timing to go to sleep anyway. So I love these kind of glasses, and I really strongly advise people to utilize them if you're somebody that is on a computer a lot. If you're somebody that they even recently they made a computer called I think it's called Daytime. That's the name of that computer, right? It's the
I think so. Yeah, daytime.
yeah. There's a Daytime computer which kind of works a little bit like a Kindle, and I would recommend that for some people. It might not have all the same bells and whistles as
daylight.
Daylight. There we go. Yeah, daylight. Yeah, it might not have all the same bells and whistles as your favorite tablet or whatever, but it's that company. I hope they have all the success in the world. So I hope that they can make laptops and everything, because they right now they basically have like a tablet type thing, I think. So hopefully over time they can. I know Ensema uses his every day, like on the show. I think Andrew is still utilizing his, and yeah, it just doesn't have blue light. They went to those lengths to block blue light. Some people think it's hocus pocus, the blue light stuff, but I happen to really believe in it. I'm a huge proponent, and I know that we get blue light from the sun, but we're also getting many other spectrums of light. At noon is when the blue light is usually the most, or I think maybe when the UV is high, the blue light is the most, but there's many other spectrums of light that we're getting in our eyes at that time and on our bodies at that time. There's just so many other things that are going on. And even the exposure to native EMF gives us the ability to absorb more non-native EMF, which is also really interesting. So if you're outside and you were getting hammered by some electromagnetic fields that aren't great from Wi-Fi or whatever, or even say like the blue light is kind of negative when it's by itself, but because it's in the spectrum of the other light, and the sun in general is healthy for you, and the sun in general is going to allow you to be able to handle typically things like blue light that are non-native EMF, then your phone and the blue light exposures are going to be less damaging. So the main message is to get the hell outside and try to get outside as much as you can. Get your dogs outside, get yourself outside, get your kids outside, get your mom, your wife, get everybody outside as much as you possibly can. Absorb what the outside world has to offer you, and then shield yourself. When it's time to be shielded from the maybe harmful effects or potential harmful effects, however you want to look at it, of some of our modern technology, then do it.